Hello! I'm here in the Lake District in England, and I need to tell you the story of how this place got so dopely popular. 15 million visitors a year popular. I know, right? I'm going to tell you the story of how a badass chick and a war over in Europe was the perfect combination to making the Lake District one of the most highly visited tourist spots in all of England. Let's explore. In 1698, Celia Finesse published a badass book about her adventures between Newcastle in the north and Cornwall in the south. Like so many women then and now, an adventurous solo non-do traveler was super rare, and her book went viral. Celia didn't give a shit about what other people thought though. She usually traveled solo, packed herself up on a horse, and traveled wherever she felt like going. Along with her and the horse, she brought a notebook. Because what else are you going to do when you're in the middle of countryside that looks like this, other than document your adventures down? Now, if Celia was here today in 2023, she may have brought a tiny little camera, some microphones, and maybe a backpack. Celia's adventurous spirit and her ability to go everywhere and clearly document what she was seeing made her one of the most notable authors in the 17th century. In the 18th century, though, is where the story picks up. Because mainland Europe was in a bunch of wars, and it wasn't the best travel destination for England to go and visit. So, England looked internal. They were reading Celia's books about the amazing adventure she had up here, and decided to head up to the Lake District. Also around this time, many other writers had moved up to this area because they had found so much inspiration with the clean, fresh air. See, at the time, London was pretty dirty. Steam was everywhere, and the Industrial Revolution had just started, and green energy quite hadn't been discovered yet. In the mid-20th century, the Lakes District had become a national park. See, now this was super important in the whole history of the Lakes District, because in the early 20th century, private ownership of automobiles was becoming more popular, and a lot of the area up here was getting damaged and vandalized by humans. To top it off, there was a huge threat of a motorway to be built through the entire middle of this area, not to mention a couple of people wanting the land and mining rights to destroy the beauty that was already here. In the way that cities offer millions of people endless activities, I find nature gives me that same endless pleasure. But both then and now, as many of the people up here visiting don't have the knowledge for how to operate in an outdoors environment, how to live with the land, how to protect it, and how not to damage it, this place needed some help. Which is why whenever the Lakes District became a national park, it gained a new layer of protection from the British government. In 2017, the Lakes District became a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now what that means is that on top of being a UK national park, there's a whole nother layer of protection that's stricter and tighter for this area to keep the beauty in here pristine for years to come. Notably though, in this area, some of the most prolific people living here were writers. and I guarantee that you've heard a story or two from them. Peter Rabbit, Benjamin Bunny, and the Three Bears are just three of the many stories that all of us, gaslighting, are some of the many stories that most of us grew up listening to when we were just kids. And yeah, came from here. Three bears were making soup. An old lady goes into the house uninvited, tries the soup, it's too hot, she burns her mouth, she tries all of the chairs, she finds them all uncomfortable and decides, this, I'm gonna go have a nap. So then she just goes and sleeps in someone else's bed. Well, by the time the three bears come in, they are terrified. What the are you doing here, lady? We did not invite you here. So of course, she runs and screams and dashes out of the apartment, never to be seen again. And just with this story, and many of the other stories told here, I can only imagine that it's the writer's passive-aggressive way of warning people not to damage the nature, not to go and destroy what's there, but to respect it, to live outside it. Now, as we close out today's adventure, I want to leave you with some very strategically put graffiti that I found. Every man dies, but not every man lives. Thanks for watching today. Like, subscribe, and join me on the next adventure, because you better believe that I am going to live to that 120% until the day I die. Bye! Oh! That was pretty good. I'm gonna eat this one too. That was pretty good too. How do I get off this log? Kind of stuck. Ow! Why do I have a pokey in my pants?